What's going on YouTube? Craig the Travel Zombie here, back again with another video. Unfortunately, this is not the video I had originally planned on doing next, but we all saw the news, the unfortunate news yesterday of the passing of rock and heavy metal legend Ozzy Osbourne, one of the founders of Black Sabbath. And so I thought it only fitting that today I go and do a little tribute to Ozzy, a little tribute to heavy metal itself, and visit a very, very special place in heavy metal history that even I didn't know about until I did a Google search yesterday. And that is the location of the very first ever Ozzfest. My name is Craig, I am the Travel Zombie, and welcome to Prime Time. I was just thinking that if you had been here on that fateful day, October 25th, 1996, just before Halloween that year, to attend the first ever Ozzfest, you might have gone through these exact gates right here. You know, having grown up in the early 2000s, the late 90s, as a kid, I had always thought that Ozzfest had just always been a thing. Turns out that actually wasn't the case. What happened was Ozzy had actually retired from touring in 1992 at the urging of doctors due to health concerns. And so, after sitting at home for 3 years, in 1995, he asked his manager and his wife, Sharon, to get him back on stage. So Sharon went to Perry Farrell, the founder of Jane's Addiction, who also founded Lollapalooza, the touring concert festival, and asked if she could get Ozzy on the Lollapalooza tour, to which she was told that Ozzy was a dinosaur and they wouldn't book him. So Ozzfest, ironically enough, became a thing because Ozzy had been rejected by Lollapalooza. But there were also some other underlying factors to it as to why they wanted to launch it. Because in the early 90s, hard rock, and specifically metal and nu metal, had kind of gone by the wayside and had given way to alternative rock and grunge. And so there really wasn't a spot, there really wasn't a festival that was dedicated to just heavy metal and nu metal and all of its various subgenres. And so Ozzy and Sharon and their crew sought to find a place for these bands and for these fans, more importantly, to have a place to go to see their favorite artists, to hear them live, and perhaps most importantly, discover new acts that they may end up enjoying and becoming fans of as well. And so that's what Ozzfest became. It became a ground for up-and-coming metal bands to come and be seen in front of a large audience, perhaps for the first time ever. And the anchor, of course, for that was Ozzy Osbourne, among other bands like Slayer. Slayer became a fixture at future Ozzfest events. And so Ozzy, he had other motivations for launching Ozzfest as well. Perhaps the biggest was that it was for some reason, just accepted that venues would force even small bands to buy all of the tickets for their shows before they'd ever gone on sale. So that way the band was taking on all of the risk as far as if they don't sell well, that the band would be the only one losing money because the venue would already have theirs, which is not fair. It's just not fair. So when you're looking at the issues of Ticketmaster and Live Nation today, don't think that they've not always had this issue, because they have. They've always had issues with fairness to artists and fairness to fans. And part of the purpose of Ozzfest was to rectify that, to make things more fair, both for the fans and for the music acts themselves. As I said before, part of the strategy for Ozzfest was that they would take all of the desirables and help them go from desirable to undeniable. And they were a success right off the bat, drawing thousands of people to right here in Phoenix, Arizona, as well as California. Going even further, Ozzy actually said that he and the rest of the members of Black Sabbath never would have made it out of Aston if they had been forced to go under that policy of buying all the tickets to their gigs beforehand. As we continue our trek around what is now known as the Talking Stick Resort Amphitheatre, back in 1996, it would have been known as the Blockbuster Desert Sky Pavilion. Right here at Gate 4 is the production entrance where Ozzy's tour bus and all of the production trucks for that day would have entered right here through this gate. And there's a little peek through. And our last stop, last but not least, if they would have had any meetings between Ozzy, Sharon, and people at the venue, which I would assume they did, they would have happened right down this road here at the administration offices. Just a short walk down the street from the production entrance that I just showed you. There's no doubt that Ozzfest left an enduring legacy, a legacy that will be forever remembered by people like me who were lucky enough to attend Ozzfest. This massive thing that became, at the time, a cultural phenomenon was all built off the back of Ozzy Osbourne. Without him, it wouldn't exist. It just wouldn't. And quite frankly, a lot of the biggest bands in heavy metal, nu metal, and all the various subgenres of metal just would not be where they are today without Ozzfest and without Ozzy Osbourne. And the music industry as a whole would be completely different without the impact of Ozzy and Ozzfest, because Ozzfest was an act of rebellion. It was an act of rebellion against the music industry as a whole, where Ozzy was outright coming out and saying, this is unfair, that you're making any band, especially small bands, buy all the tickets for their shows before they go on sale. When you put on a concert, it's supposed to be a partnership between the venue, the artist, the ticketing platform, and a bunch of other people. But the venue, for some reason, wanted to get all of the profit while taking none of the risk. And Ozzy didn't believe in that. And so he used his platform and whatever power that he had to change it. And the music business as a whole owes him a thank you for that. And with that, as always, our time together today has sadly come to an end. I know, sad zombie noises, right? I agree. It's been a sad couple of days. And that's exactly why I felt that I had to do this video today, to pay tribute to our beloved Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne, because I actually had the opportunity to see him perform before myself in 2007. Ozzfest 2007 was free, and we managed to get tickets. I was hanging out with a friend the day of the show. We were unable to get them before. They did this thing where you had to get a redemption code and then go on the Live Nation website to redeem the code. But the Live Nation website couldn't handle the traffic, and so we ended up not being able to redeem our codes and not get tickets. But the day of the show, a friend of mine was at my house, and he got a call from a friend who worked at the venue, and that friend happened to have a stack full of tickets and offered to hold 2 of them for us. So we went, and I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest metalhead in the world, so I didn't know most of the bands there, but I knew Ozzy, and I loved Ozzy. And seeing him live, getting to hear classics like War Pigs and Crazy Train and Mama, I'm Coming Home live. I actually called my mom during Mama, I'm Coming Home, which I know it's about Sharon, but still, it was funny. But anyway, it was an unforgettable day. I remember going to get some hot dogs and soda and coming back and having to dodge chunks of dirt and grass that people had dug up from the lawn section and were throwing into the seats, which then prompted the people in the seats to start throwing bottles and whatever they had back at the people in the lawn, and trying to run between the 2 of them to get back to where we were sitting. And just hoping that our head didn't get taken off by a giant chunk of dirt. But anyway, yeah, it was an unforgettable time, and I wish, honest to God, that I could have seen Ozzy again after that, because that time was so memorable and so fun and meant so much to me. And I'm going to miss him. I'm really, really going to miss him, like all of us are, I think. And that's, again, why I felt compelled to go and do this video today, because this is my way of paying respect to a legend and paying respect to someone who gave so much to so many. And so, at the end of this video here, let me just say, rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. Thank you for all the years, all the miles, all the smiles, and most importantly, all the music. And with that, I must bid you all adieu and say goodbye and good night.